Hey guys, Steven Brogan here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is the mind and muscle connection. So hey everybody, I hope you really liked the thumbnail on this one. That was really my entire motivation to do it, was because I was like, I can think of a funny thumbnail for that video. Unless I fucked it up, and in that case, sorry, it was a really lame thumbnail, and just go ahead and omit these first 20 seconds. But let's talk about it, because it's definitely something I know you hear about. Fuck! Sorry about that, guys. So for those of you who know me, small update, I had some water coming up in the house. So dudes are here to replace drywall, cut stuff out, and do a whole bunch of other jazz. So, sorry, any noise or interruptions, please bear with me today, as I don't have a lot of control over it. So, let's talk about it. Mind-muscle connection, like, what are they? Are they connected? What's the thought process, right? So the thought process behind mind-muscle connection, and I know we've all heard a lot about it because it's really, really, really sensationalized. We say, mind-muscle connection, you gotta have a mind-muscle connection, eccentric reps, this, that, you feel the muscle grow. And so let's talk about how much I feel like there's some truth to that, the parts where I think are maybe a little bit overemphasized, and kind of how we get to that point of even having that, because for a lot of us, that mind-muscle connection, there's a huge shortcoming, right? We just don't get it. It never happens, or it hasn't happened yet. And so that can be frustrating, especially if we're told that that is the key to bodybuilding, and that that's what we have to do. So what is mind-muscle connection? Mind-muscle connection is essentially a very simplified way to say proprioception, right? Or our ability to feel muscles in space, right? To feel ourselves in space. And not only in space, but to feel what our body is doing, joint position, muscle position, contraction, extension, all that kind of stuff. And so most of the time, we use this in terms of balance, right? So a lot of this studies with this have to do with older individuals and balance and gait, right? Their ability to walk and stay up, because that's important, because we don't want to fall down and hurt ourselves either. However, in our world, the world of bodybuilding, we're going to talk about it in terms of the ability to feel, right? To feel your muscle contracting, right? Our body's, neural components recruiting muscular components and contracting, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. This has to do with a couple of different things. So first and foremost, it has to do with your body's ability to recruit muscles properly, right? Now, I'll use myself as an example, right? When I bench press, lats, right, should be used to stabilize and for a lot of that eccentric, right? Well, what happens for me, and this is a bad motor pattern, and why I can't feel, or I have to really concentrate on feeling my left lat engaged during the bench press, is because my left lower trap likes to take over. So when you say feel it in your lats, that's not a good, right? It doesn't help me any, right? So, because I don't normally feel it in my lats, because my body has been trained over repetition after repetition after repetition, and although be it incorrect repetition after incorrect repetition, I don't feel it in my lat. So I have to be very, very wary of different kind of commands, like bend the bar, elbows in, that kind of thing, right? So I can't use the same cues because of the fact that I've been doing it a different way so long that my body, its natural reaction is to go to the more inefficient or the incorrect way of doing it. Now, a lot of us have those same issues. When we are starting resistance training, we are training our body, those motor patterns, like what muscle fibers are you going to recruit first, what order are you going to do them, how many, all that kind of stuff. So we want to become more efficient at the movement, right? Now, as a powerlifter, that's true, and as a bodybuilder, that's true. Here's why. Powerlifter, this is true because we want the movement to be, we want it to take the least amount of energy possible. In the laws of physics, if we can have the most efficient, that means we can put the most weight on the bar that our body is capable of, right? As soon as we become inefficient, the amount of weight that we can lift now becomes down. Now, whether that's leverages, whether that's just the length of the movement and the amount of force that we have to produce to move the bar, different things matter, right? Now, for bodybuilders, why does it matter? Because bodybuilders, a lot of the times we're becoming much more specific in what we're trying to hit, right? If we want simply a bicep curl, right? Well, we want to only work the bicep. We don't need the hips, the legs, the quads, all this other stuff down yonder. Get involved in the movement. And we see that because people talk shit about it, right? Haha, look at this dude, fucking, you know? And so we know that that's right. We know that if we want to work the bicep, this is a lot of excessive wasted movement. We're using a lot of different musculature to hit, the movement, and we're not so much getting the biceps. But if we're a bodybuilder and we're doing bicep curls, our entire it's about hitting the biceps. Like, dude, you can't do curls for the girls and use everything but your biceps. It doesn't work that way. So, what we want to do is make sure that we have efficient movement patterns. Now, that means range of motion and control on the muscle, right? So what does the bicep do, right? It brings this into here, right? It actually inserts down here on the other side of the joint. So we want to make sure that we're getting as much of a range of motion. So now whether that's completely extended or not, that's up to you. A complete extension is going to mean less weight moved, right? You're gonna have to pick a lighter weight to get a complete extension. If you start here, you're going to be able to do more weight depending on what variation you do. Are you doing a preacher curl? Are you doing a standing curl? Are you doing a dumbbell curl laying back and getting more extension? All of these things matter, right? But the entire point is to feel that, you're going to have to be practicing it correctly for a long time. And different cues are going to work for different people. My cue is that I'm trying to bring this bone to my fucking shoulder, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to shorten that. Now, that doesn't work for everybody, and so finding your own cues are going to be different for each and every person. Here's why I like mind-muscle connection. Here's why I like the entire idea of it. Because it gets you to stop wasting energy inefficiently doing things that aren't necessarily going to help you, or that may not necessarily help you as much. Now, if you want to be whole body fit and you don't give half a shit about your biceps or your you know what I mean? Like that one muscle, then who the fuck cares? No big deal. Go ahead and fucking swing them out here. Just understand that if you do this, that full extension with that heavier weight, you might fucking tear something, right? So in safety's name, I say mind muscle connection is definitely a good thing, okay? 2, it also does, it can help with balance, it can help with like where we feel our joints are at, when we know when a stretch feels like bad or good, all these kind of things, right? So proprioception, mind-muscle connection, definitely a good thing. Do you absolutely have to use it? Not at the beginning. I would argue that if you're going to become intermediate to an advanced lifter, it is absolutely imperative that it is something you work on, learning to feel the musculature and finding those mental cues that work for you in terms of recruiting the right musculature. Remember, it is going to take time. A lot of studies, 8 weeks, they find joint, proprioception improves after that study, after that intervention, right? So remember, nothing's overnight. Everything we do is adaptation. It's practice, right? Just like if you want to practice a karate move, right? You have to practice it over and over and over and over. The more times you go through it, the better you get. It is the same with lifting. It is the same with proprioception. It is the same with mind-muscle connection. The more you do it, the better you get. Don't expect to be an expert right off the bat. But yes, I do believe mind-muscle connection or proprioception in terms of resistance training is in fact important. I think that hopefully I've explained to you why, but I'll leave it there for this Monday. You guys have a great one, okay?